Two explorers of the soul, walking the same path from different directions. What if two people living in different countries, in different times, asked the same question and arrived at almost the same place? This is the strange convergence between Carl Jung and William James. They never met, but in a way, they were studying the same mystery. We're at episode 19, one step away from the end. And before we finish, we need to bring these two minds into conversation. Who was William James? Imagine a scientist who takes your inner experiences seriously, not dismissing them, not explaining them away, but studying them as if they matter. That was William James. In 1902, he wrote The Varieties of Religious Experience, a book not about religion as doctrine, but religion as lived experience. Not what people believe, but what they actually feel. Moments of sudden clarity, overwhelming presence, deep transformation, or quiet, unexplainable peace. James asked a simple question. What happens when humans encounter the sacred? And more importantly, what does it do to their lives? He wasn't trying to prove God. He wasn't trying to deny God. He was doing something more difficult. He was paying attention. Where Jung and James meet decades later, Jung would do something very similar. Different language, different tools, same starting point. Both men refused to begin with belief. They didn't say, God exists, therefore this is true, or God doesn't exist, therefore this is illusion. They started somewhere else. They started with experience, not theory, not doctrine, but what actually happens to people. 1. The empirical approach. They treated religious experience as data, something to be observed, not dismissed, not blindly accepted, just studied. This sounds obvious today, but at the time, it required courage, because science dismissed it and religion feared it. 2. The hidden source. James called it the subliminal self, a deeper layer of the mind, below awareness. Jung would later call it the unconscious. Both noticed something strange. Religious experiences often feel like they come from outside, but seem to arise from within, as if something is breaking through. 3. The test of truth. James had a rule. Don't judge an experience by what it claims, but by what it produces. Does it make you more alive, more compassionate, more resilient? Then it has value. Does it make you rigid, cruel, closed off? Then something has gone wrong. Jung asked a similar question. Does it make you more whole? Not more correct, not more certain, more whole. 4. No easy explanations. Both rejected reductionism. They refused to say, it's just the brain, it's just evolution, it's just illusion, because something real was happening. People were changing, lives were being transformed, and that deserves to be taken seriously, where they part ways. But here's where things get interesting, because they don't see everything the same way. James. The observer. James was a master of description. He could capture what an experience felt like. Conversion, mysticism, grace, despair. He showed the variety, the richness, the unpredictability, but he didn't go very deep into the structure beneath it. Jung. The cartographer. Jung went inward, mapping the psyche, archetypes, the shadow, individuation. He tried to explain what was happening beneath the surface, but in doing that, he sometimes shaped the experience. Fit the map. So we get a contrast. James shows the landscape. Jung draws the map. One is broader, the other is deeper, and maybe you need both. The question they couldn't answer. There's one question both of them approached carefully, and neither fully answered. What lies beyond the psyche? James called it the more, something beyond the self, not clearly defined, but undeniably felt. Jung said something similar. The God image is real, as a psychological fact. But whether something exists beyond that image, he left open. Both stopped at the edge. And instead of pretending to know, they did something rare. They admitted it. This is where my map ends. What this means for you. Your experience matters, not because it proves anything, but because it reveals something. The sacred doesn't arrive in one fixed form. It shows up in grief, in beauty, in silence, in chaos, in unexpected moments that don't make sense. James would ask you, what did it do to your life? Jung would ask, what did it reveal about your inner world? Both questions matter. Together, they give you something deeper, not certainty, but direction. Final reflection. William James died in 1910. Carl Jung died in 1961. Both were working at the edge of what their time could understand. And now, we inherit both perspectives. More tools, more maps, but the same mystery. The experience is still happening. The question is, are you paying attention? And are you? In the final episode, we step back from everything and ask, what does all of this mean for how you actually live? Subscribe to Empire of the Mind if you want to see how it all comes together. And tell me, whose perspective resonates more with you, James or Jung? Or is the truth somewhere in between?